Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is June 22nd, 2025. Howard, you just spent a few weeks in Italy. How was it?
The VIX is always four, not here. They lost my bags on Lufthansa. Someone's wearing my clothes somewhere. Poor soul.
Have you gained any weight?
No, but I never lose weight. Even though I was biking for 2 weeks, you just eat so much good food. But much cleaner food. I love it there. Anyway, it's good to be home in San Diego too. It's nice to be able to come home to San Diego, which I love.
Nice. Any intentions to buy a property there?
No.
No?
No, but it is a beautiful place.
All right. Now back to the US stock market. We're looking at the chart of the Nasdaq 100,
Hmm.
and it's consolidating sideways near its all-time highs. Constructive price action for the most part. Yes, there's been an increase in the number of distribution days lately, as you can see by the bigger red volume bars here. But overall, we're seeing more of a sector rotations than really money leaving the stock market. And in the past couple weeks, definitely we've seen rotations into the more speculative parts of the stock market, stocks that are typically much more volatile. And this is why we saw the Cathie Woods Index arc. It broke out to new 52-week relative strength high here on, I mean, last week basically. And obviously, they have Coinbase and a few others that really moved the needle for them. But between that and quantum computing, um, a few other names in AI and chips. Definitely, we're seeing like a move into the more speculative parts of the market. I don't know what that means. If it means like more volatility in the next few weeks. Obviously, we have a lot of moving parts now with the war in the Middle East, but the market doesn't seem too concerned so far. Yes, we've seen a spike in crude oil and a spike in energy stocks. But for the most part, the indices and the market leaders are holding well.
In what did the futures do with tonight with it'll be the first day post Israel post America entering
They're down a little bit. Like last time I
down.
checked, it was like 0.4, half a
Yeah,
percent.
nothing. So I think the big news is, I mean, there's a lot of stocks participating. So you have um you know, you had Goldman hitting. I mean, again, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Goldman hitting new highs.
Yeah.
Not so much the financial, but Goldman, Schwab about to hit new highs. So wealth management, and it just reversed on Friday. So wealth management's kind of is in a boom. The venture capitalists are investing fortunes in wealth management. And they wrote about it today. It's like the degenerate economy is just spreading out, right? If Coinbase is going into stocks, Robinhood's getting into mortgages.
Yeah.
I think Coinbase is playing catch up to that Circle valuation because they kind of make most of the money off the Circle
Yes,
deal.
exactly. They're co-founders of the USD
Yeah.
stablecoin,
So I
and
think
they
people have
definitely.
realized that, Circle, whether it's being squeezed or not, um, I have some friends who are in that, but the relative value trade, I think Coinbase played catch up there. Um, so we'll see what happens this week. There is just a lot of, it seems like air that could come out of the market really quickly, or, you know, with the regime change, if the Iranian people, catch a break here, peace can break out, right? Like
It will probably take a few months for that.
not just a few months, could take a few years, but at the same time. terrorism doesn't stop just because we bomb their nuclear facilities. So again, I don't think much changes. The question is what happens to oil and what happens with inflation, right? The tariffs have been kind of not talked about for a few weeks, but they're still there. He's going to have to either extend. There's no deals, right? They've only
Yeah, I mean,
they've
there's not
cut
a
it to the
single
UK.
official deal, even with the
Yeah.
UK.
So
Um,
he's gonna have to extend,
yes, very likely.
um,
Yeah.
hence the nickname Taco. So I just don't know what that really means. But if we look at the US dollar's been had really terrible start to the year. Um, so it needs to, probably due for a bounce. Interest rates are not budging.
Yeah.
Home builders, which generally participate in this type of rally are not, right? So,
Yeah, there are no transactions because the prices are not coming down, at least on the West Coast, maybe in the South Belt, they are already down 20, 30%. But
yeah,
at the level of the interest rates and at the level of the current prices, there are just no transactions currently.
yeah. But tech stocks overall doing well. I mean, Google, Apple lagging.
Yeah. Google, Apple lagging, definitely some of the old leaders lagging behind the indices, which is unusual, for the past
Mhm.
10, 15 years. But then we've seen rotation into potentially new leaders like Coinbase, for example. And
Yeah, Coinbase and Robinhood. Coinbase now joining Robinhood and leading Goldman Sachs. Like I said, Schwab. So a lot of financials, right? And um, with Circle breaking out, you also had the in Coinbase combined, you also had Visa,
yeah,
Mastercard pulling back. Oh
yeah.
yeah, CoreWeave,
And then you
another
have
one,
all of the
which
like AI
which
plays.
doesn't have any financials and is tripled. Um, and then we look at what's this Nebulous? So,
It's the same as CoreWeave, but just European based, like with some Russian twist. But
interesting.
that
Okay.
an AI play, data center AI play,
Yeah,
the
that
same,
sure
the
looks
same as
great.
CoreWeave, yeah.
Yeah, so congrats to the people playing Matt. What's the valuation on CoreWeave now?
88,
88 billion?
yes,
Oh my
that's
goodness.
what it says. I have no idea if that's a lot or not, but this is what the market is pricing it currently, and obviously chasing it here is probably dangerous from a swing trade
And how
point
are
of
you
view.
how are you playing the market here? I'm kind of just
I
riding
mean,
the winners. I'm not really looking.
after the war in the Middle East erupted, I kind of raised cash and just preferred to hold, more cash overnight and just because you never know what type of gap you can get. But so far, judging by the market reaction, maybe I overreacted and maybe I should have stayed longer. So I'm playing it mostly on the long side with whatever setups show up. Like last week, my biggest trade was in Coinbase because I found out before that news came out on Wednesday that Coinbase is a co-founder of that stablecoin. They receive 50% of the revenue from all platforms except Coinbase, where they get 100%. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. This stock should be rallying. So I had a decent position in CONL, which is the 2x long Coinbase ETF. So not trading as much, but the trades that I'm taking at least the winners are working well. Obviously, I have losers too. Been shaken out of a few trades lately to Toast and a few others. But
Yeah, Toast is probably the leader in that space.
yeah, I think it's setting up again. It's just you just need to be more patient and use a wider stop. And just the way I trade, I use very tight stops, and I don't mind getting stopped. But when I'm right, I'm right, and my reward to risk is multiples.
Yeah.
But overall, the stock I think is setting up, and some of the energy, some of the energy stocks are also starting to look appealing. Obviously, of the utilities, the power producers. TLN, that's probably extended. You just not don't chase it. But CEG setting up here, I have a small position in this one. I think it's setting up, but it's a very volatile stock, so it can easily shake you out.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it'll be a volatile week.
GV,
Maybe we get some rotation with this with the bombing in Iran. I don't know. It's been so long since we've seen something like this, a huge policy change from the US. Forgetting all the politics, it's just a huge policy change, right? Like we've been trying to be diplomatic for, I don't know, 40 years in the Middle East, outside of the Iraq um, war, and this is a big policy change. And so we'll see. For people that think they understand this, God bless. But the trends that have worked are super strong.
anything nuclear has been just on complete fire. There's been so many doubles in the sector, even in companies they don't have revenue, you know, or profits. It's just super strong sector like nuclear, obviously, quantum computing, like we mentioned, the data centers. So I have a couple of questions for you. First of all,
Cyber as well. Cyber as well.
cybersecurity, yes. I have a couple of questions for you if you don't mind.
Sure.
What's your take on like Visa and MasterCard, the impact of stable, I mean,
You
because they
know,
sold
I
off, yeah.
I think you buy the dips, right? Like again, I don't have a long-term thought because in the end, they're charging a lot of money, and you've got Stripe, you've got JP Morgan launching a stable coin. But American, they're not, Amex is a different story, right? You've got Ram Capital, they charge a lot of fees, but Visa, MasterCard are just like water in a utility. So I think those are probably setting up for trades because, Circle and Coinbase, these are just announcements, and these companies are not set up properly with customer support and networks to manage the type of scale that Visa, MasterCard do in the United States and around the world. So,
So you would buy the dip to the 200-day, let's say.
yeah, I mean, again, like I would be looking the 200 days, especially since the news to me is, well, interesting, is not going to affect anything in the short term for these companies. And they have so much leverage to let people go, um, and to even lower their prices at some point if they truly felt scared by this. So I think this type of market is there are trading opportunities, and you have to kind of and at the same time, short sellers are just the smart money is just getting rolled over on some of these momentum stocks that don't have fundamentals. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
speculation. At the same time, there's a lot of big moves in like solid names like Visa and MasterCard that probably can set up as trades. And then you have the war, the change in US policy. You said you had another question. So
Yeah.
Visa and MasterCard, I'm looking for.
Yeah. The other question is, so Tesla just announced
Oh, right.
the release of their robo-taxi first in Austin, a limited area. Is that the beginning of the end for Uber?
No, I don't think so. I'm long Uber and DoorDash. So in my degenerate economy index. So I think it's great uh, that Elon's back focused on launching product, and it seems like the Austin rollout so far, from what I'm reading, is well received. Um, and this country is just so damn big that there's just so much room in the auto market for self-driving. So it seems like, the argument is Tesla's more scalable because of the cars on the road, because of their technology over Waymo. But again, it's a couple accidents in Austin and all bets are off on Tesla. So it's not like a slam dunk sure thing, right? Like you got to
Yeah,
put some miles on the road. Waymo in Arizona
exactly.
and
Yeah.
in certain places have just been on the road for a very long time. And much like banking, people over 50 are not getting in a self-driving car, right? It's easy for a 15, 20-year-old to get in a self-driving car. It's not the same for a 50-year-old. So there's still a massive market for Uber and Uber Eats because these are like
Hmm.
huge shifts in how people want food. But it's exciting to see, listen, pushing technology forward is great. And hopefully there's no accidents. The Austin rollout will be watched closely. We'll see how the stock reacts this week, but we should know a
Yeah.
lot next week.
I
All right, I'm
think
going to hit
that
the sack. I'm going to hit the sack. Oh, sorry, you had another question?
no, no, I just wanted to end with it. I think that 10 years from now there'll be more cars in a self-driving mode than, actual human drivers.
Yeah.
But obviously we'll see how things
No,
shape up.
yeah, certain cities in Europe, no, the roads are so narrow. It's just in the UK, it's such a mess. There's so many different, the roads are just not built for self-driving. Um, so I think the many cities in the US are set up for that. And obviously in China, same thing, but China's all BYD. So we'll see how that stock reacts with the Tesla news too.
But even the Chinese are saying that Tesla is so far ahead in terms of self-driving capabilities.
Oh,
So
really? Okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. So let's see. Okay, then thank you, Howard, and see you
All right,
next
everybody.
week.
Well, good to be back. See you next week.
Yeah.